Alright, so welcome back. Hoping you're having a fabulous day here today. It's been a while since I actually talked about this sort of topic. I've made my, who you should invest into, who you should build, but I've never really broken down the categories into more smaller areas, right? Saying what is the top DPS character, what is the top defender character, what is the top whatever, right? So today, for this video, we'll spend a while talking about the top DPS characters and who you should invest into for team building, right? Yes, there's a lot of content in this game that requires DPS, okay? You need to race for that, and okay, what is the character that can do that? Today, I'll answer that question. Let's jump into it. If you're new to the channel, like and subscribe, helps out a ton. Appreciate it. Let's check it out. So first up, to do this, I'm going to use Pridewind for most of this, but I'll hop back into game here and there to talk about it, because some characters I don't own, some characters I do own, so we'll see how I edit this or how I actually go through with this, but there is a lot of characters in the game, alright? There are. That is true. When I do share with you top DPS, you have to look at it as a perspective that yes, Pilgrim characters are known to be very strong. There are other characters in each category, Tetra, Missilis, or whatever, that are also powerful, but it really depends. Okay, if you look at it, the top characters really consist of Pilgrims. They do. There are other characters that are a support roster that aren't Pilgrims. We basically only have one support Pilgrim. Yes, that is true also. So when you look at DPS, it's going to be very top heavy on the aspect of Pilgrim, but there are some of the ones that I will mention. We'll start off with the obvious picks because we'll do that. Scarlet. You know she's top. You know she's the best. You know she's literally great DPS. Insane character. A lot of us still suffer with not pulling her. I know that is true. I still see those comments everywhere. I don't have Scarlet. They 99 of no Scarlet, right? So yes, great character, but not to put salt in the wounds, right? And burns, She is great, but yes, a lot of us don't have her. If you are chasing for to formulate teams, this is a character that is just well-rounded, very powerful. That's it. At the end of the day, that's really it. Best damage dealer in the game. Very true. Increases her own attack critical rate and critical damage. Deals great sustained damage. High reload time, which again you can combat with the fact that you add the what is it? Resilience cube, yeah. High risk, high reward, because again she does kind of damage herself, or just takes a lot of damage also. Pilgrim manufacturer, hard to obtain, which is true. But for what she is a great character. Crit damage up, crit rate up. What is it? Attack up. Current HP goes down. Whatever she is a very, very powerful character. But again, a lot of us may not have her. So you'll have to push to the other Pilgrim that is also a top tier character, Modernia. Okay? I know, these are two Pilgrim characters. A lot of people suffer with this. I mentioned it day one that if you could and you play the game during Modernia's banner, you should really go for the unit because she was freaking good, and that's what she is, yeah? For a lot of content, I prefer to use her over a lot of characters due to the fact that her burst is just nuts. For so many bosses, projectiles, anything, this character really is the character of the century. If you were to look at the pros and cons, obviously, massive AoE damage output. It's crazy what she can do, especially if the enemies are clustered, as she can hit them all at the same time. That is what she can do in her burst, and it is nuts. The amount of swipe clear you can get from this character it's bonkers, alright? Decent single target damage that still allows her to shine against bosses, can provide hit rate buff to allies, really good generation, but here's some problems. Longer full burst time can actually harm you since the burst window is delayed. Most supporting gives buffs for, last 5 to 10 seconds, so they don't last for the whole full burst window, and Modernia can't fully make use of them. I mean, I guess it's a relative problem. Using her burst against a single enemy often leads to DPS loss. That is true, but it bursts at a proper area or time, right? Sometimes this does screw you over, so it's there. But just average in PvP really isn't a gimmick. We don't care about that. So really, there's not that many cons, if you will. Some of those cons are just situational. So for what she is as a character, holy hell, she's your DPS. For what she is as a character, that is a DPS character, all right? Both Pilgrims, but they're both powerful with DPS. We can then go to a character like Drake. Drake is a very strong character also. Overall, if you look at it, she's SS in every content. She is crazy. She has great AoE damage, so she's a little off in the single target area because she's a shotgun character. But for what she is, yeah, Drake is your character if you're looking for a shotgun DPS, and for a lot of content, she can also help you here and there. Increases weapon range and attack for her team, which is really good. Increases her own ammunition capacity to more than 5 rounds. The con is really just shotgun. That's it. Shotguns are still iffy in the game, but for Drake, she is one of my favorite characters that I recently pulled, and I can tell you for certain, she's great. Hit rate up, attack up right there. The max ammunition capacity goes up. Deals this damage when you after 10 hits, so it's pretty simple. But for this character, another very strong DPS character. Shotgun works with a lot of new teams that have been formulated, so over time this character really did shine. And again, for all the Drake lovers out there, that is great because she got, you know, really good. So there is that also. Next up is Guilty. This is a character you probably don't have because you may have not chased her in Liberation, but this is a character that is to be reckoned with. She is really freaking good. With what she does here, you can also check just pros and cons. But look at this. In both boss content, right? She is an SSS character. That's it. She really is. She doesn't really do good in the early story, but, you know, who needs her there? You're not going to even get her there. When you get into later story, she shines. She really does. Highest damage output of all Burst 2 characters. Highest, bro. Think about that logically. That's crazy. Scales with the power of your main carry really well. And then defense debuff, okay? The cons, they always exist. Has pretty big ramp-up times, which is kind of true. We have Epinol as Burst 3 with Element, so it's hard to make use of the buff's stack count. But ignore the cons. I still stand. This character is nuts. Everyone uses her when they get her. So just realize as time progresses, if you do get this character from Liberation, which you should, she really does shine. And she is probably one of the best, if not the best, Burst 2 damage dealer, right? So for what it is, this is a Burst 3, Burst 3, Burst 3. Those there, but for a Burst 2, that's your damage dealer. Alice also. Now, I do want to mention with this character, you will have to build her. This will be an investment to make this character actually work. I do, like, it's relative to speak that Alice is broken due to the fact that you need to build her a little bit. All right, you gotta give her a little, you gotta show her a little bit of attention, show her a little bit of love, and she'll do your damage for you, 100%. It's true. But yeah, she is a fire sniper rifle Burst 3. If I were to show it to you over here, I don't know if it mentions that it's, so this is it. Penetration allows her to shoot through enemies, which can inflate her damage massively against bosses, so that's true. This makes her one of the best endgame damage dealers when it comes to bossing. Endgame, okay? So you have to realize it will take some time, but she will be freaking good. She is, if you will, she's for like whales or like experienced players. She's known as the Pilgrim level DPS. That's what she's known as, right? She's a non-Pilgrim character, but she puts up that Pilgrim level DPS, which is freaking nuts. All right, so for what she is as a character, really big. Has self buffs to overcome the weapon limitations, self heal. The only thing is she struggles on some non-boss stages. Again, still being SS in these story contents is enough for me. Requires high investment to shine, which is true. She needs investment, but if you spend the time, you hold her hand, take her on, I'm not gonna push that, but just, we'll end that analogy. But if you take her and actually build her, do everything, you will get a very, very good character, okay? So for a character that is not, again, mentioned to be a Pilgrim, that's what you have as a DPS character, okay? Now, I have an honorable mention. I will just mention this, though this is not true, and this is not at all correct. Dorothy exists. She puts up insane damage, but she's more of a support character. I will just mention it. She is also stuck at being a Pilgrim, but for what she is, you can argue she's DPS, dog. Look at this, right? SS, SSS, right? So she's broken, but just know she's not per se a damage dealer, actually, but I just want to mention it. She puts up good damage, but she supports, so ignore this one. Just a quick honorable mention. Another Pilgrim that I kind of forgot to mention, she is a very good character also, though people will say otherwise. She does fall off in later stages. I think that's what's been said. But for what she is, look at this. Story content, SSS, SSS, SSS. She is crazy. Highest hitting burst skill in the game. It's true. You'll literally drop the boss like 10 bars with this one burst, right? She is nuts how much she can do. She can also penetrate enemies with burst skill. You will need to fully charge the burst to get the entire damage thing. Not really a con, but you're losing a little bit of time dealing damage, which is true. Pilgrim Manufacturer, hard to obtain. Again, it's a Pilgrim unit. It sucks, but it is what it is. This game has that type of unit. Every game has that type of unit. It's how it is. So yes, pulling Pilgrim characters is hell for a lot of people, but after a while, you'll start getting them. And yes, you can clearly see, out of the ones listed, there's 3 Pilgrims. Let's say you pull one of them, you're good to go. You got your DPS character. Now your goal is to get your supports, get your defense, get your taunts, get your whatever, and formulate the team like that. But if you have between one of these Pilgrim DPSs, being Modernia, Scarlet, or Snow White, you're in a pretty good area. Even Haran is a great character, which she's like AoE DPS, so that's there too. Another honorable mention, if you will. She's also a very, very good character, but that's more so early game AoE. She really doesn't do too much in bosses, which sucks. She's a great damage over time character. It's just now she's not good, in my opinion, right? She's very good earlier on. As time progresses, she definitely falls off. So it doesn't really, again, benefit a player like me. But for early game players, getting a character like this is great. Long-term investment isn't there, though. That's true, right? So keep that in mind as well. There's also power. This is more honorable mention, as mentioned, due to the fact that first, she's limited and you can't pull her anymore, but she is good for what rocket launcher actually is. She does a lot of damage, basically. Great stacking attack buff, burst generation, good in both single target, hammer also there. But again, there's some problems that she does have. So keep that in mind too. Investing into her is good, and my investment did pay off kind of. I used her for a while until I got Laplas, but I've already invested into her so much where it doesn't matter to me, so I just use power over Laplas anyways. But Laplas is another character, great damage dealer. Okay, again, it also it's situational, right? Clearly you see it doesn't work here, but for bosses she's great. Yeah, I would say that more so for a few bosses she really does shine, but again, she does fall off here and there in other content. For what she is, I think she's still a great character, but it's just for me, I per se use her more. And then the funniest thing is, in PvP, she's like the absolute carry, though I don't play it. But yeah, power is the one that I went for as my rocket launcher character. So that's just how I did it, but Laplas is also a great character. And if you were to go through it, there's a lot of other DPS characters that I may have missed. So please let me know what you think about it, and if there are characters that you would say to go and invest into. Dee's a pretty good boss killer, but I don't think it's because of damage per se. I think it's just her kit. Great damage dealer, so she's a great damage dealer, yes, but I don't know if it's like the top DPS you're looking for. But for what it is, each character is situational. If you're looking for more so who is just broken like that, Guilty's just broken like that, Drake is just broken like that. Again, she's shotgun, so keep that in mind. That's the situational. Modernia is just broken like that. Scarlet just broken like that. Alice more so situational due to the fact that you kind of want to use her here and you kind of want to build her heavily, right? If you were to look at other characters, again, power, she works, but she'll need investment, she'll need time. You have to hold her in, take care of everything. Haran more so early game. Snow White more so burst skill and working in some sort of content that you really want to just shred like that. So keep it all in mind that they are situational, but just overall damage dealers, I told you. Scarlet, Modernia, again, building, but Alice is there. Drake, Guilty, those are some top tier ones, but yeah, that's DPS, what I say, all right? But again, there's more I may have missed. Please let me know down below. But yeah, for what it is, I hopefully was able to get across all the points and give you some pros and cons with these characters. Thanks for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Have fun, stay safe, peace out, enjoy. And that's really been it from me. Yeah.